Good morning, New Zealand. It is a Friday, so that is always a great day as we head into the weekend. Let's check out some of the latest stories. Welcome to Daybreak. Yep, it's Friday morning, 21st of November, which means there is only, dare I say it, am I right? I can't even figure it out now. 35 days to Christmas. Is that right? Yeah, 31 days in November. I think, no, it's 30 days in November. Okay, so that's one less day. Okay, so don't panic anyway. More importantly, yes, Wednesday was International Men's Day. But you probably already knew that because of the wall-to-wall coverage of Men's Day. Yeah, not. Okay, never mind. I did get some great comments from our commentary on seeking consent from babies when you change their nappies, you know, when they've had the poo-splosion, but you get consent before you deal with that. And this comment I thought was the best. Rebecca said, if your child is old enough to consent to a nappy change, they should have already been toilet trained. And I think that one probably nailed it. Speaking of children, the Children's Commissioner has an article in the press this morning. Children, you should be our priority. Now, this is the reason the article's been printed is because it's Children's Day today, I think. So it's Children's Day today, we talk about it, but Men's Day on Wednesday, we ignore it, just so you got the memo on that. And Children's Day, and it's written by Claire Ahmed. If you haven't heard of her, she's the Children's Commissioner. Take her with a grain of salt. I'm sorry. No credibility. The reason I say this is because when they were doing a review of puberty blockers, and it's been a good week on that issue, hasn't it? When they were doing a review on puberty blockers in their submission for the Children's Commissioner, they said that mokopuna rights are fundamental, and basically kids should be making the decision. And do not introduce additional regulations. In other words, do not put safeguards around puberty blockers when they're not proved to be safe. Let's continue the experimentation on children in the name of gender ideology. That's what the Children's Commissioner said in their submission. So now you know why I said, take the Children's Commissioner with a grain of salt. Also to be taken with a grain of salt is anything that's on 3 News at 6, with the world's worst presenters. And of course, they were all over this. They're still going at the Breakers, the basketball team who refused to bow down, kowtow to virtue signalling, Pride Week and wearing the Pride round jersey and all that type of stuff. The team made a decision, good on them. But of course, that wasn't good enough for our news media. And of course, then they go running and trying to find somebody who has hurty feelings and is upset. And of course, no better than our worst newsreaders on 3 News.
Breakers have come under fire for deciding not to wear the rainbow flag during the ANBL's upcoming Pride round. The club says the decision was due to some players' religious and cultural beliefs.
Naughty.
Some advocates for the rainbow community are accusing the club of homophobia. Anthony Stevens reports.
Those players are absolute cowards. Call it for what it is. This is homophobia. Like, if I was in front of those players now, oh my God.
Ian Roberts, the NRL's first openly gay player in the 90s, and now advocate for the rainbow community in Australia, has slammed the Breakers for refusing to wear the rainbow pride flag during January's Pride round.
This is bigotry. Like, at least have the courage to stand up and say, yeah, I'm against this.
In a statement, the Breakers said they collectively won't wear a pride flag on their uniform during the round due to some players' religious and cultural beliefs. It went on to say the club is open and inclusive and will celebrate the diversity.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. This is the interesting thing about diversity, equity and inclusion. They're very inclusive and very diverse, except when you don't agree with them. And then it's exclusionary and they want to cancel you. It's not diversity, equity and inclusion. It's delusion, inequity and exclusion. That's what DEI is. And of course, note that the letters DEI is a takeoff of, Agnus Dei, deity. It's the new cultural religion. diversity, equity and inclusion. And if you don't bow down to diversity, equity, inclusion, then of course we have some hate speech laws for the blasphemy of not believing in DEI. So, yeah, more of that. Of course, the puberty blockers' decision showed the media at their worst. The coverage was appalling. The press in Christchurch had a story where it was 4 opponents to 1, the usual, balance. And there was one in the Radio New Zealand, which was appallingly unbiased as well. However, I do just want to highlight this one in Radio New Zealand by Lillian Hanley. She is my new favourite reporter. And it's simply because this one came out yesterday afternoon at about 4 o'clock. It was published. And Lindley had actually gone to both sides of the debate. So there was strong reactions, but it was both strong reactions for and strong reactions against the decision to ban puberty blockers. We were quoted in it, Family First. There was a number of other groups on our side. There was groups on the, wanting to chemicalise our kids. But I just appreciated the article because you heard both sides and then you were allowed to come to draw your own conclusion, and you weren't told how to think like most of the media tell you to do it. So Lillian seems to be the exception amongst the group. And hats off to Lillian for doing a very balanced article. If the media would start to do articles like this, they might win their trust back, but I don't think they will because they'd rather push their ideology than save their industry. The Te Pāti Māori, they said that the puberty blocker ban was state-sanctioned harm against trans rangatahi. Well, they're not. They're vulnerable young kids who actually need counselling and support rather than chemicalisation and castration. And our favourite MP from Labour, Shannon Halbert, he was on TV. Now, when you listen to this comment, let me play the comment first and then let's just destroy it. So this was his response to the government banning puberty blockers.
Labour's Rainbow spokesperson Shannon Halbert believes it's inappropriate for politicians to be involved.
Decisions like this should be made by medical professionals, by young people and their families themselves.
Oh, that's interesting, Shannon. This is the same person who voted for the conversion therapy law, which criminalises counsellors, medical professionals, pastors, parents from affirming the biological sex of their children. In other words, you're criminalised if you don't allow your child to go down the puberty blocker path. But, here's what our Shannon Halbert says.
Labour's Rainbow spokesperson Shannon Halbert believes it's inappropriate for politicians to be involved.
Decisions like this should be made by medical professionals, by young people and their families themselves.
Oh, yes. Well, the medical professionals have spoken because they say that puberty blockers are problematic. There's no proof they work and there's no proof that they don't do harm. But here's Shannon Halbert saying, no, it's up to parents and families and medical professionals. Where was he? I wonder where he was during COVID as well. Was he saying the same thing or did he want government intervention? I wonder where he was during the abortion debate. Was he saying, medical professionals who are pro-life should be protected. We should listen to them and politicians shouldn't get involved. Okay, there's a word for it. It starts with H. What is it? Hypocrisy. That's the one. Interestingly, on the same day that the government passed the puberty blocker ban, a major report came out from the HHS, which is the Ministry of Health Comparative in the US. And basically they said that the problem with this chemicalisation of young people, infertility, loss of sexual function, reduced bone density, cognitive and metabolic effects, surgical complications. We already know that. Now, you're probably saying, well, why hasn't the US said this before? Well, the problem was that one of the people heading up the Department of Health in the US was the dude on the left who thinks he's a woman. What's the name? Levitt. Somebody Levitt. Levine. Rachel Levine on the left, a dude pretending to be a woman who was in charge of the health services. So now you know why under Biden they were pushing the chemicalisation and confusion and castration of young people. But now there is a new doctor running the ship, and he's a very good doctor. This is what he had to say.
This is Admiral Brian Christine, the Assistant Secretary for Health at the Department of Health and Human Services. Over the past decade, the number of children and adolescents who reject their biological sex has risen dramatically. Some analyses indicate trans-identifying teens nearly doubled from 2022 to 2023. These young people and their families are searching for answers to gender dysphoria. They deserve honesty, compassion, and the strongest evidence for the help that the medical profession can offer. And that is why the United States Department of Health and Human Services worked with 9 academics with professional backgrounds in medicine, bioethics, psychology, and philosophy to conduct the most comprehensive review to date of the standard of care for gender dysphoria in minors. The findings within the 400-page peer-reviewed report are clear. Sex-rejecting procedures such as puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries for children are dangerous. They can cause infertility, a loss of sexual function, reduced bone density, metabolic and cognitive effects, and certainly surgical complications. They can scar kids, both physically and emotionally, for life, and they can do irreversible harm. I implore physicians and...
Yeah, it's a great presentation. I've actually posted it on some of my social media. Sex-rejecting procedures. It's a very good line, isn't it? Sex-rejecting procedures. Because that is what it's all about. All right. I did just have to tell you about this one. We've all driven through Taupo. We've all driven past the hole-in-one on the lake. We've all thought, man, it would be amazing to do that. This guy, he did 2. He had 4 balls and he got 2 holes in 1. So I just want to acknowledge that. That is a pretty impressive record. The UN rapporteur on sexual violence denies that Hamas raped women during the October 7th attacks. The Israeli ambassador has called on the international body to remove Reem Al-Salem from her position as UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women and Girls after she denied evidence that Hamas weaponized sexual violence against Israelis during its terrorist attacks 2 years ago. You can't get much dumber than that, can you? Interesting just around the social media issue. And already, people are concerned about the digital ID and the government intervention, which I fully understand. But we've always said, actually, it can be done because big tech needs to be held accountable and they have the information necessary to protect young people. I mean, they've been targeting young people with this objectionable material. It's time we said to them, stop targeting them and held them accountable. And already in Australia, with the social media ban coming up for under 16s, Meta is actually going around and warning kids on Instagram and Facebook, hey, your account's about to be closed, download anything that's important to you. So Meta already knows. You don't need big daddy government intervention and all of us having digital IDs for us to protect kids. These big tech companies just need to step up and be held accountable. Where was it? I was interested in Auckland University published some research, was it last year or the year before, where they actually asked kids themselves what they thought about social media bans. And there's actually support from our young people. 47, almost half, support increasing the age limit of social media. In the middle, neutral, 28%, only 25% opposed, 1 in 4 opposed. So I wonder whether it's adults that have more of a problem than actually the kids. The other thing is I looked at some US research, Pew Research, on this issue, and that also found that young people realize that social media is harming them. Big increase from 32% 2 years ago up to 48% or 3 years ago. They also found that teens are more likely to think social media is bad for their friends than themselves. Kids always think they're bulletproof, don't they? But Teens are more likely to say that social media sites hurt their sleep, productivity, and mental health, even though it may help with friendships and contacting each other. But the girls were more likely to acknowledge this issue of mental health, sleep, and confidence. It's affecting them. And one more, teens themselves, as many teens, almost it's 49-45, so there's a split. Basically, teens are split that they spend too much time on social media. About the right amount has decreased and too much has increased, and that would be true. The ERO, the Education Review Office, did a big study on the effect of the phone ban in schools, which some principals said, oh, how can you ban phones in schools? It's worked very well, and both students and teachers are saying that it's improved performance and just interaction around the school, less bullying. But they did ask kids, why do you break the rules? And interestingly, you note in the circle there, only 30% said, well, I just don't like the rules. I disagree with the rules. So that would suggest that, around 70% are actually okay with the rules. You'll note there that the main reason that they break the rules, get the phone out when they're not supposed to, is staying connected with family. And part of the problem is parents and siblings ringing kids or contacting kids during the school day. So maybe it's a little bit about parents as well. They also asked, has it improved their outcome? Now, for some reason, they divided Pacific and non-Pacific. Not quite sure why. But you'll see there that if you average it all out, it's around, between, 12% to 28%. Let's roughly say 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 are saying that restricting phone use has improved their outcomes, focusing on schoolwork, achievement, behaviour, better mental health, better attendance, and less bullying. So it seems like that maybe it's adults that have the problem with the social media ban, and maybe kids don't. Interesting thought, isn't it? One other study that I just wanted to give you, this one, and I might put this on the agenda for Straight Talk on Monday night, is that high school girls, so they have polled 12th grade, which is our year 13, or for you boomers, 7th form. They have polled that age group. So we're talking about 17, 18-year-olds. And they've found that fewer high school girls want marriage and kids, but not the boys. Let me just show you the results of these. So this is just 12th grade. I mean, what were you thinking about in 7th form? Were you thinking about marriage? Were you thinking about having kids? Might have been on the horizon. Maybe you thought, well, that's going to be the part of the progression. Maybe you weren't trying to find your life partner right then, but you were thinking, okay, marriage is on the horizon, and yeah, I'd like to be a mum or a dad. I'd like to have kids. If you're a woman, you'd be the mother, by the way, just in case you weren't sure. I wanted to be a father, just putting that out there. And basically they're saying that since 1993 to 2023, so 30-year period, their 12th graders are less likely, 7th formers, year 13 for us, less likely than in the past to say they want to get married. It's not a major drop, but it is a bit of a drop. But here's the concerning thing. Girls, big drop in wanting to get married. Why is that? Is it this toxic masculinity message which scares girls wanting to be with guys? Is it feminism? What is it? About half of 12th graders say it's very likely they'll want kids. This is a concern as well, because we've got a fertility crisis already, and we're told that we shouldn't have kids because of their carbon footprint and climate alarmism. And of course, that seems to be having an effect that even if you get married, they don't want kids. So that is quite concerning. Just one other graph as well. This was another poll, and it found that men who backed Donald Trump rated having children at the top of their list, and also marriage. Women who backed Kamala Harris, marriage and having children was right down the bottom of their list. So that's quite a divide, isn't it? And it's an anti-family message. It's an anti-family message of husband and wife and multiply and have children. And the culture is going to suffer if the fertility rate is not up there as well. So things are changing. Very interesting discussion. All right. Now, a couple of video clips to show you just to finish, seeing it's a Friday. First one is this one I saw. This is an AI-generated funny clip of the BBC, given all the trouble they've been getting in over the last 2 weeks for making up stuff and clipping stuff.
Welcome to the BBC, where even if there isn't any news, we'll just make it up.
We promise to keep bringing you the most historically accurate dramas. Make sure you pay your licence fee, otherwise there will be serious consequences.
At the BBC, we like to make speeches more interesting. That's why we edit different parts of them together.
BBC, bringing you shows you don't want under financial duress.
Yes, very good. Thought that was very funny. The other thing is, if you're worried about just my general fitness and health, I have found a new personal trainer. This is a guy from Melbourne, very popular personal trainer. And basically, he said that if you want to eat healthy, eat KFC. Let me show you the clip. There is a naughty word in it, so please pardon that. But this is my new personal trainer.
Would you get a protein bar that's normally loaded with more fat than there is protein when KFC has been gatekeeping the protein snack of the century? Simply trade up your protein bar for a basic Zinger fillet, which has 21 grams of protein and only 10 grams of fat. That is more protein than your average protein bar, and it's chicken, and it's KFC. So next time you decide about getting a protein bar, maybe just get a Zinger fillet instead.
There is my new personal trainer. Man. And just one other. Wednesday, I played that advertisement for the Woke University. In fact, it's very short. Let me just play it for you again. Some people have too much time on their hands. This is an ad for a Woke University.
Woke State University, the U.S.'s most trusted exporter of unemployed activists with a master's degree in outrage.
I'm in the identity creation department. Every semester we pick a new gender and write a 20-page essay on why everyone else is the problem.
I just switched my major to advanced protest choreography. We learn how to chant, block traffic, and cry on TikTok, all for college credit.
I major in gender and identity theory, where we prove there are at least 97 genders. Real women are now called birthing people, so everyone's feelings stay equal.
I major in American oppression studies, Palestine, climate change, or whatever's trending this week.
Well, that's the Woke University. The one for today is the Woke Airline.
Woke Airlines, the U.S.'s most progressive airline for people who cancel everything except their vacations, obviously.
At Woke Airlines, we offer direct flights to Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and anywhere people professionally complain and protest. I usually get flight anxiety, but my wife's boyfriend reminded me, fear is just internalized privilege, so now I'm cured.
At Woke Airlines, we offer designated safe spaces for emotional expression. Passengers are encouraged to release their feelings in whatever way they identify.
We offset our carbon emissions by feeling extremely guilty about them. Emotionally, we're basically net zero.
There we are, your Woke University and your Woke Airline. Now, just finally, Wellington, tomorrow at Victory Christian Centre in Lower Hutt. Got the Influence Seminar. I'll be back on stage with Nathan and Nick from Pillar, and also Penny Marie from Let Kids Be Kids. There are door sales, but you can get tickets there online, and you'll see the link on our social media. So would love to catch up with you then. Anyway, it is Friday, and that means we're heading into the weekend. So I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday morning for Daybreak. Have a great day.